The more I read their manga as well as their Twitter, the more I realize the Kamikita Futago are kind of insane. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't mean that as an insult. After all, they say there's a fine line between genius and insanity. I just think they kind of lean a little bit more towards the latter, as is shown in their books. They tend to write and draw whatever they want, which does give us some heart-wrenching tales, as well as the insanity that was a dominatrix that wanted to dip herself and Akira into a giant pot of cheese fondue. Yeah, I'll let you try and make sense of that. But at the same time, that's a part of their appeal. They embrace the inherent insanity of this franchise and often bring it to the forefront, which I do think is important. We've seen what happens when creators in this franchise are held back either due to real-life tragedies or by mothers whose names start with K and rhyme with Ren. I bring all this up because for the last chapter of this particular volume, they do not hold back. Though, to make up for that, they might have held back just a little for one of the chapters we'll cover for today. You'll see what I mean as we get right into the first 3 chapters of the second volume of the Mahotsukai Precure manga. Our first chapter of this volume opened with Liko performing a one-off gag with her becoming a palm tree? Well, regardless, the Yasuhinas enjoyed it, as it was all part of their family tradition of having a good laugh before dinner, because, yeah, I'm sure giggling while you eat isn't going to result in any sort of choking hazards. Kotoha was also eating with them, as explained through some narration, as they managed to convince Miai's parents to let another girl home stay with them. Yeah, as a little reminder, the Beauty and the Little Merman chapter was exclusive to the tankobon, and therefore not a part of this manga's original run in the Nakayoshi magazine. So this was her actual intro to the mangaverse, hence why there's a little retread with this narration. Well, at least they have an actual excuse for a little discontinuity, unlike the rest of this franchise. Anyway, Kotoha wanted to become a part of this family, to which, of course, the brave Liko tried to give advice, ignoring that she wasn't that much more experienced about the human world, as even Mofurun pointed out. To Liko's credit, though, she did bring up a good point that Kotoha just needed to learn a little bit more about his family to really become a part of it. Miai chimed in to say the best way to do that would be to make everyone laugh through that little one-off gag thing from earlier. Of course, this former fairy baby thought the best way to do that would be through her magic. Her moms naturally told her to keep that stuff on the down low. The next night, Mr. Asahina brought the family together to show off a new prototype robot vacuum that I think he stole from Dr. Eggman. Personally though, I don't think anyone is ever going to top Ruchan. And there I go again, making obscure anime references. Seriously, Miss Monochrome is just so underrated. Still, Miai's dad was determined to make a better piggy, so he was taking suggestions from his family. Everyone gave him fairly practical advice, except for maybe Kotoha, which, yeah, I'm pretty sure those kinds of features would break the bank. Not as though it would make a difference, as Robo Porky started to break itself. Now you see, this is what happens when you buy from Amazon and their half-assed packaging. Kotoha tried to lift everyone's spirits with her one-off gag, but considering that the pig vacuum was turning into bacon, it went over like a lead balloon. Remembering that she was also not allowed to use magic, she tried to forcefully stop it, and at least prove Mr. Asahina gave it a good amount of horsepower. Not that it would save it from turning into sausage. Understandably, Kotoha was a little depressed that all of her efforts to entertain and be a part of the family didn't exactly work out. Still, her mothers comfort her and said that she just needed to learn how to read the room a little better. This was even a lesson Mr. Asahina kind of learned, considering he probably shouldn't have brought out his faulty prototypes in front of his family. However, Kotoha, just being an absolute cinnamon bun, wanted to cheer the guy up, so with Mirai and Nico's help, they managed to find his first invention, a shaved ice maker. Yeah, thankfully this thing didn't include any electronics, and the family was able to just sit down and enjoy some frosty treats. And while he's not a good inventor, at least this dude does have some good fashion sense. Real men know how to wear jinbei. With that, the chapter ended with Kotoha doing some comedy with Liko.
I don't get it.
Moving on from that heartwarming yet kind of weird chapter, we got an even crazier chapter as Kotoha enrolled in Mia and Liko's school and of course transferred to their class.
うちのクラスだけ転校生多くありませんか？
だからな、うちにはこのアニメの主人公がいるからだよ。
She gave the standard introduction. She said her name, waved to the class, said two underage girls were her moms. Hey, it's 2020, let's not judge. But yeah, thankfully everyone thought it was just a joke, and the former magical fairy's first day went great with her pretty much excelling at everything. She may have overdone it a little as all of the school's clubs tried to scout her, including the softball team and, Oscar from the Rose of Versailles? Well, actually, she was the president of the music club and just wanted Kotoha to join, and nothing else, I'm sure. She was also courted by other clubs like, what the hell? Oh wait, let me guess. The card game club? Then again, this franchise really hasn't referenced Egypt as much as it used to. Just really bad new rules. Actually, Cleopatra here, and no, I'm not kidding, that's what they call her, was the president of the drama club, and I'm guessing she wanted to find her Antony. Overwhelmed by all of this, Kotoha decided to leave the choice up to her mothers, which, yeah, I'm sure this'll go over well. Later, after getting home, Miai's mom showed them the new inventory she had just gotten in for her shop, emeralds. Because yeah, sometimes the twins don't care all that much about subtlety. Though I will say, I liked how they used the actual gemstones as a significant plot point here, as Mrs. Asahina went over some trivia about them. Like how Cleopatra, the actual Egyptian queen, treasured them, and how they were very fragile jewels. Actually, in their most natural forms, emeralds tend to have above average density for gems. It's just that all the processes they go through to become stuff like rings and such tend to make them much weaker. Yes, I enjoy being pedantic, why do you ask? But yeah, you can guess where this is going. With all the school clubs still competing over Kotoha and also swooning her mom a little, Miai suggested she just try out all of them.
This won't end well.
This led into an eminently humorous montage where she tried softball, music, being the king of the world. She even branched out to some of the other clubs, including Kendo, good choice, Bruce Lee Kung Fu, and, weightlifting. Okay, what exactly is this school's budget if it can afford all of these clubs plus their equipment? Predictably, all of this club hopping led to the poor girl collapsing. Yeah, maybe next time, don't take advice from this girl about how to choose clubs. Miai and Liko both admit that they had been a little too complacent with this whole club thing, and almost let their precious emerald shatter. Yeah, obvious symbolism, but they worked it into this story fine. And with that, they told Kotoha to just go with the club she wanted to join, and that they would support her decision no matter what it was. Later, they got all of the clubs together and okay, now the school apparently has horse stables. Seriously, what's the tuition at this place? Anyway, with everyone gathered, Kotoha announced her decision, which was just to make her own club, the Love Luck Club. Well, points for at least dodging copyright infringement, I guess. But yeah, a rather goofy ending to a goofy chapter that I think my spirit animal Mofurun sums up perfectly here. Speaking of whom, the little teddy bear was the main character of the last chapter we'll cover for today. And just by this first page, you can probably guess around what holiday this chapter was originally published in Nakayoshi, which would also place it around the release date of this season's solo team film, as Toei usually secures a movie date on or around Halloween, even this year in spite of the pandemic, though it's gonna be for the crossover film. I bring this up because I do think the twins made this chapter specifically for the film, but as I said at the beginning of this review, I also think it was the chapter where they might have been forced to hold back a few things. Anyway, our heroines were given some really cute Halloween designs, with Mirai and her jackal skirt being my personal favorite. And since everyone was caught up in the spirit of the holiday, they were able to freely use their magic to up the festivities without anyone really noticing, except for maybe Scooby here. However, in spite of also having an absolutely adorable design, Mofurun was saddened by the fact that she didn't have any magic like her friends, and therefore couldn't even indirectly join the festivities, being a stuffed animal and all that. Yeah, would it be nice if, say, she could take on a human form with some access to magic of her own? However, the plushie's best friend assured her that she was just fine being herself. Nice stuff that gave her the inspiration to jump on the stage and pretty much expose herself. Well, okay, people didn't realize she was actually alive and thought she was just a robo-bear. Honestly, I'm not surprised. They've diluted the FNAF franchise so much that no one takes it seriously anymore. However, her contributions to the festivities were cut short when I think the Picogoro Cloud from Chapter 2 came back for some vengeance. Well, actually, it tied back to something Liko mentioned at the beginning of this chapter about the origins of Halloween and how their costumes are meant to ward off evil spirits. Yeah, maybe next time y'all shouldn't buy from one of those pop-up stores. They never seem to have really good quality products to ward off demonic possession. Sure enough, the evil spirit used Mirai to give Kotoha a furrow and turn Liko into a Gorgon.
You look like a snake!
Dark Mirai, as we'll call her, started to cause even more havoc at the festival, including force-feeding everyone poisoned pumpkin pies and dropping some bombs that I think she bought from Oscorp. It did all of this just because it wanted to ruin the image of the very amiable Mirai. Bit of a simple and kind of petty motivation, but when it makes Mirai make a face like this, I can't really complain. Mofurun tried to rescue her friend by using tackle, forgetting that normal attacks don't work on ghost types. However, the little teddy bear wasn't going to give up as she recollected all of the good times she spent with Mirai, and in spite of her family trying to give her new toys to play with, Mofurun always remained her favorite and she always treasured her. Kinda wish Disney had stuck to that theme for one of their long-running properties. But yeah, a bit of a touching scene that had absolutely no effect on Dark Mirai. However, a little hug and a declaration that she would stay by Mirai's side no matter what did work. Alright, I think we all know what's coming next. I mean, this is just the perfect moment to bring out Cure Mofu. Oh wait, the evil spirit just left Mirai in a couple panels. Yay. Alright, I'll admit, I can't say for sure whether or not the Kamikitas were planning on bringing out Cure Mofurun here in correlation with the movie, but come on, you can't tell me this doesn't feel like it would have been a perfect moment to bring out the movie-exclusive Cure. Yeah, it wouldn't match up with how she debuted in the film, but it hasn't stopped this manga so far. But unfortunately, I think even if they wanted to use her, there were some legal issues as for one reason or another, Toei was unable to maintain the copyright on Cure Mofurun, hence her incomplete cameo in the Hakuto crossover episodes. I know of this because it came from a tweet from the twins themselves. The fact they felt that they needed to say this tells me that they were venting their frustrations that they couldn't use the character in their manga. It's unfortunate, and does make this otherwise really fun and touching chapter feel incomplete. Again, the evil spirit just kind of pieces out rather anticlimactically. Granted, the chapter by itself still ended on a cute note with Mirai and Mofurun hugging, and Liko and Kotoha launching a few fireworks for them, while also likely wiping everyone's memory of what just happened, because quite frankly, I think they just wanted to keep the memories of Dark Mirai all to themselves. Overall, these 3 chapters were kind of insane, but I say that in the best ways possible. I mean, I just think the twins work best when they have no constrictions. When they do, the story's still not bad, but it's clearly not all that it could be. For these chapters, they chose to focus on the 2 most innocent characters of the season, Mofurun and Kotoha, which did match well with the twins' specialty of focusing more on the slice-of-life aspects of Precure as opposed to the action. This led to some pretty humorous visual gags, as well as just the general setup of it all, producing some great laughs. Just the idea of this little fairy girl becoming the center of attention for these wacky anime tropes is absolutely hilarious. This was helped by the twins' ever-impressive designs, both for these characters, as well as the great Halloween designs. Sure, some of their symbolism is a little on the nose, but still worked fine in the context of these stories. What didn't work quite as well was the rushed conclusion of the Halloween chapter, which again, I believe was because they couldn't bring in Cure Mofurun. As far as I can tell, I think they do want to draw more Cure Mofurun, but the only thing they've ever officially released of the character was just some pin. It's a real pity because while they probably couldn't draw a full fight scene between Cure Mofurun and the evil spirit, just the appearance of the rarely seen Cure would have been a spectacle in of itself. It didn't stop this chapter from being a touching chapter between the girl and her teddy bear, but Man, would have been cool just to see her. Oh well, at least we still got 4 more chapters of this book, with the last one, again being something a little more special. And until then though, farewell for now my friends, and Fruchan, are you hungry? Okay, come on. I think it was just about time we cleaned out the closet a little. Maybe we should do this in batches.